Every day you wake up, you're given two choices: repeat the same patterns that keep you stuck, or build the kind of habits that make you unstoppable. Success, confidence, resilience, none of these come overnight. They are forged in your daily discipline, in the small things you commit to, even when no one is watching. If you want to rise above average, if you want to walk into every room with unshakable strength, you must choose habits that sharpen your mind, strengthen your body, and harden your spirit. Here are 7 habits that, if practiced daily, will transform you into someone who cannot be broken. Master your morning. The first hour of your day sets the tone for everything that follows. Don't waste it scrolling, complaining, or drowning in distractions. Use it to ground yourself, to focus, to prime your mind for strength. Whether it's through journaling, meditation, physical training, or simply planning your priorities, command your morning before the world commands you. Train your body, train your mind. A strong body builds a strong mind. Every drop of sweat is proof that you refuse to live in weakness. When you train daily, you're not just sculpting your body. You're teaching yourself discipline, endurance, and pain tolerance. Fitness is not about vanity, it's about resilience. Push yourself physically and watch how your mental barriers shatter too. Ruthlessly protect your focus. Most people never achieve greatness because they allow distractions to steal their time. You cannot be unstoppable if you give your attention to everything and everyone. Each day, cut out the noise. Limit your exposure to negativity, gossip, and pointless scrolling. Focus is your weapon. Use it. Speak less, observe more. Unstoppable people don't waste energy proving themselves with words. They let their actions speak. Every day, practice restraint. Listen more. Observe carefully. When you speak, let it be intentional, powerful, and precise. Your silence will often intimidate more than your voice. Practice mental toughness. Daily life will test you. Through rejection, criticism, and hardship, build the habit of embracing discomfort instead of running from it. Whether it's through cold showers, tackling hard conversations, or working on what scares you, train yourself to thrive in discomfort. Every challenge you face willingly prepares you for the unexpected storms of life. Feed your mind with power. Your mind is your greatest weapon. If you feed it garbage, it will perform like garbage. Every single day, read, learn, study, whether it's books, podcasts, or mentors. Consume knowledge that builds you stronger, sharper, wiser. Growth is not optional. The moment you stop learning, you stop leading. End your day with reflection. The strongest people don't just move blindly through life, they evaluate themselves. Before you sleep, ask, what did I accomplish today? What did I learn? Where did I fail? And how can I do better? Reflection transforms mistakes into lessons, and lessons into growth. That is how you become unstoppable. Remember this, being unstoppable isn't about being fearless or perfect. It's about being relentless. It's about showing up every day, even when it's hard, even when no one applauds you, even when you feel like quitting. Build these habits into your daily life, and soon you won't just survive, you'll dominate. The way you start your morning defines who you become during the day. Most people never realize how much power exists in those first moments after they wake up. They roll over, grab their phone, scroll endlessly, and before they've even taken a deep breath, their mind is cluttered with everyone else's agenda. If you want to be unstoppable, you must break free from that trap. You must learn to master your mornings, because the first hour of your day is not just time. It is direction, it is energy, it is the signal you send to yourself about what kind of person you intend to be. Think about it. The morning is the only time of the day you truly own. Before the world demands your attention, before emails, calls, and problems come crashing in, there exists this small sacred window that belongs entirely to you. And what you do in that window determines if you are walking into the world with clarity, with strength, with purpose, or if you are walking in scattered, tired, and weak. People talk about discipline, they talk about focus, but discipline is not built in the middle of chaos. It is built in the quiet rituals of your morning. When you wake up, your mind is like wet cement, soft, impressionable, ready to take form. If the first thing you do is flood it with noise, then you are allowing the world to write the script for your day. But if you wake up with intention, if you take control of that first hour, you become the one who decides the script. That is the difference between average people and unstoppable people. Average people wake up reacting to life. Unstoppable people wake up commanding life. Mastering your morning doesn't mean you need a complicated routine. It doesn't require a perfect ritual borrowed from someone else. It means designing practices that ground you, center you, and push you to operate at your highest level. It could be movement, getting your body awake with exercise, stretching, or breathing deeply. It could be journaling, clearing your thoughts, setting intentions, writing down goals, or reflecting on what you're grateful for. It could be feeding your mind, reading, listening to something inspiring, or even sitting in silence to strengthen your ability to focus. The activity itself doesn't matter as much as the purpose behind it. You are training yourself to start with strength, not weakness. One of the most dangerous things you can do in the morning is start with distraction. The moment you look at your phone, you are bombarded with other people's demands, opinions, and problems. Social media fills you with comparison. News fills you with fear and negativity. Messages fill you with pressure. And suddenly, before you've even stood up, your mind is already running in 100 different directions. That is not control. That is surrender. And the person who surrenders their morning surrenders their day. When you take command of your mornings, something powerful happens. You build momentum. You create small victories that stack on top of each other, and those victories carry you forward. You wake up, you move your body, you finish a workout. That's one win. You journal your thoughts, focus on your goals, write down your priorities. That's another win. You spend time in silence, meditation, or prayer, grounding yourself before the world begins. That's another win. By the time most people are still hitting snooze or drowning in notifications, you've already stacked 3 victories. And victory is addictive. The more you win early, the harder it becomes to accept losing later. There will be days when you won't feel like it. There will be mornings when your bed feels warmer than your dreams, when your excuses whisper louder than your discipline. But that is exactly why the morning matters most. If you can win when it's hardest, if you can choose strength when it's easier to choose comfort, you are training yourself to win in bigger battles later. The morning is not just about productivity. It's about proving to yourself every single day that you are in control of your choices. Mastering your morning also builds confidence. Confidence does not come from empty affirmations. It comes from evidence. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, every time you follow through with discipline, you give yourself proof that you can be trusted. And when you stack those promises day after day, you begin to carry yourself differently. You stand taller. You walk into the world with quiet strength because you know deep down that you do what you say you'll do. That is the essence of unstoppable confidence, and it begins the moment you wake up. Think about the people you admire, the ones who seem unshakable, unbreakable. They don't stumble into their strength. They build it, brick by brick, through daily habits. And one of the most powerful habits they all share is a mastery over their mornings. They don't allow randomness to dictate their day. They create structure. They lead themselves before they lead others. If you want to change your life, don't start with the big things. Start with your mornings. Guard that first hour with your life, because it will change the way you live the next 23. Train yourself to stop reacting and start commanding. Train yourself to begin with purpose, not with distraction. When you master your morning, you master your day. And when you master your days, one by one, you eventually master your life. Strength is not built in comfort. It is not given to you, it is earned, carved into you through effort, discipline, and struggle. The truth is simple. If you want to build an unstoppable mind, you must first train your body. Because when you push your body beyond what feels easy, you are teaching your mind to endure, to fight, to refuse to quit. Physical training is not just about muscles, appearance, or fitness. It is about mastering the most important battlefield you will ever face, the one inside your head. Most people live soft lives. They avoid discomfort. They chase convenience. They surrender to weakness at the first sign of difficulty. They think that avoiding pain will make them happy, but in reality, it makes them fragile. Life will test you whether you prepare for it or not. And if you have not trained your body, if you have not trained your endurance, if you have not trained your ability to fight through exhaustion, you will break when life pushes you. That is why daily training is non-negotiable. Every push-up, every run, every rep is more than just exercise. It is proof that you refuse to accept weakness. When you train your body, you are building a reserve of strength you can rely on when life throws storms at you. Think about the discipline required to wake up and push your body when you don't feel like it. That discipline transfers to everything else. If you can force yourself to keep going when your lungs are burning, when your muscles are screaming, when your mind is telling you to stop, then you are building the exact same mental strength you will need when challenges hit you in real life. Training teaches you the language of resilience. It teaches you that pain is not an enemy. It is a teacher. It teaches you that fatigue is not final. It is temporary. There is something primal, something raw about pushing your body. It strips away excuses. You can't fake strength. You can't pretend endurance. Your body tells the truth. When you put yourself through training, you face that truth head on. You see your limits, and then you push past them. And every time you do, your mind takes note. Your mind begins to understand. I am stronger than I thought. I am tougher than I believed. That realization is one of the most powerful weapons you can carry. Because once you've proven to yourself that you can endure physical struggle, you no longer fear the struggles that life will throw at you. This is why some of the strongest leaders, warriors, and high performers in history made physical training part of their daily life. They understood that weakness in the body creates weakness in the mind. But when the body is trained, the mind becomes sharper, more focused, more determined. Training teaches you how to fight with yourself. Because make no mistake, the hardest opponent you will ever face is not the person across from you. It is the voice inside of you. The voice that says, stop, give up, it's too hard. Training allows you to silence that voice. It allows you to look that weakness in the eye and say, not today. And it doesn't matter what kind of training you do. It doesn't matter if you lift heavy weights, run long distances, practice martial arts, or do calisthenics in your living room. What matters is that you challenge yourself, that you go beyond what feels comfortable, that you learn to stay in the fight even when it burns, because it is in that burning, in that struggle, that you become unbreakable. Your body is your vehicle in this life. If you do not maintain it, if you do not strengthen it, everything else becomes harder. But when you train it, when you discipline it, when you push it daily, you carry yourself differently, you stand differently. You move through the world with quiet power. There will always be people who laugh at discipline. They will say, why do you work so hard? Why do you train every day? They say this because they do not understand. They think training is about looking good in a mirror. But unstoppable people know the truth. Training is about survival, about preparation, about resilience. Training is the practice of choosing your own suffering, so when life forces suffering on you, you are ready. You are not shocked by it. You are not defeated by it. You are prepared because you have already built the habit of enduring. The gym, the track, the mat, these are not just places of exercise, they are laboratories of the mind. They are where you test your limits, fail, fall, and get back up again. They are where you practice grit in a controlled environment so you can carry that grit into uncontrolled chaos. They are where you prove every single day that you are not here to live soft, that you are not here to accept mediocrity. You are here to sharpen yourself into a weapon. Every rep is a reminder that you are not fragile, a reminder that pain is temporary, a reminder that you are capable of more than you believe. And every time you complete that workout, every time you overcome the temptation to quit, you walk away with more than a stronger body. You walk away with a stronger spirit. You walk away knowing that when it was hard, you didn't back down. That kind of knowledge cannot be bought. It must be earned. So train your body daily, not for vanity, not for applause, but for power, for discipline, for resilience. Because when you train your body, you are also training your mind to be relentless, to be unshakable, to be unstoppable. And once you build that connection, once you understand that your body and your mind are one, you will become a force that nothing and no one can break. Focus is one of the most valuable resources you have, and yet most people throw it away carelessly every single day. They give their attention to anything that calls for it: notifications, gossip, negativity, distractions. And then they wonder why their dreams never come true, why they never build anything meaningful, why their lives feel scattered and out of control. The truth is simple. You cannot be unstoppable if you cannot protect your focus. Where your attention goes, your life follows. If your attention is scattered, so is your future. If your attention is sharp, nothing can stop you. In a world that is constantly screaming for your attention, learning to protect it ruthlessly is not optional, it is survival. Every day you are under attack. Your phone buzzes, your inbox fills. People demand pieces of your energy, advertisements scream at you, and endless entertainment tries to pull you in. And if you don't learn to defend your focus, you will become a prisoner of distraction. You will end up building other people's dreams while abandoning your own. Focus is power. It is the ability to channel all of your energy into one direction, one task, one mission. It is the difference between a scattered candlelight and a focused laser beam. Candlelight gives warmth, but a laser cuts through steel. That is the power of focus. When you protect it, when you aim it, when you direct it, you can achieve what looks impossible to everyone else. But when you let it leak, when you allow everyone and everything to interrupt it, you remain ordinary. The problem is that most people are addicted to distraction. They don't even realize it. They check their phone without thinking. They scroll endlessly. They fill silence with noise. But here's the truth: every distraction has a cost. Every time you switch from one task to another, you lose momentum. Every time you allow someone else's drama into your mind, you drain energy that could have been spent building your own life. Distraction doesn't just waste time, it weakens you. It kills your ability to go deep, to think, to create, to perform at a high level. This is why the unstoppable protect their focus with the same intensity a warrior protects a weapon. They understand that focus is the gateway to mastery. You cannot master anything: your craft, your body, your business, your purpose, without the ability to go deep, without the ability to lock in, without the ability to shut out noise. Every great achievement you admire came from someone who was willing to protect their focus when others didn't. But protecting your focus requires strength. It requires the courage to say no. It requires the discipline to cut off distractions, even when they feel tempting, even when everyone else indulges in them. You must build the habit of eliminating what weakens your attention. If something does not serve your mission, if it does not push you closer to your goals, it is stealing from you. Every moment you give to it, you lose. That is how the unstoppable think. They measure everything against their vision, and if it doesn't align, it gets cut out. There will be people who don't understand. They will call you cold, distant, obsessed. But obsession is what it takes to do something great. Ordinary people will never understand extraordinary focus. They cannot see that what looks like sacrifice is actually liberation. Because when you protect your focus, you are free. Free from noise, free from wasted energy, free from mediocrity. You are free to go after what matters to you with your whole being. Focus is also about presence. It's not just about eliminating distractions from outside, it's about eliminating distractions from within. How many times do people sit in a room, but their mind is somewhere else? How many times do they attempt a task, but think about 10 other things at once? That is not focus, that is delusion. To be unstoppable, you must train yourself to be fully present. When you work, work with your whole heart. When you train, train with your whole body. When you listen, listen with your whole attention. Do not divide yourself. Because when you give something your full focus, you give it power. Protecting your focus also means setting boundaries. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not every conversation deserves your attention. Not every request deserves your energy. You must learn to say no without apology. Every yes you give to something meaningless is a no to something meaningful. The unstoppable do not give their time away cheaply. They guard it because they know that time plus focus equals results. This isn't about living like a machine. It's about living with clarity. When you decide what matters most to you, everything else becomes noise. And when you filter out that noise, you can go deeper than anyone else. You can build skills that others can't, achieve results that others won't, and live a life that others only dream about. Depth is where greatness lives. Shallow people live in distraction. Deep people live in focus. Every day you wake up, you have a limited amount of energy. You can spend it on drama, gossip, entertainment, and endless scrolling, or you can invest it into your goals, your growth, your mission. But you cannot do both. You must choose. That is what protecting your focus really means. It means choosing yourself, choosing your future, choosing your strength over weakness. So cut the noise. Guard your attention. Build your ability to go deep. Because when you protect your focus ruthlessly, you hold in your hands the power to become unstoppable. Nothing in this world can compete with a person who knows exactly where they're going and refuses to be distracted along the way. Power is not always loud. Strength does not always come from the voice that dominates the room. More often, true power belongs to the one who stays quiet, who observes carefully, who listens with intent, and then speaks only when their words carry weight. If you want to become unstoppable, you must learn the art of restraint. You must master the discipline of speaking less and observing more. Because when you do, you control the flow of energy. You keep your advantage. You learn more than anyone else in the room. Most people waste their strength through endless talking. They feel the need to fill silence, to prove themselves, to be noticed. But the louder they become, the less powerful they appear. Words thrown carelessly into the air are like loose arrows. They may sound strong, but they rarely hit the target. The unstoppable person understands that silence is not weakness. It is strategy. Observation is not passivity. It is intelligence. Restraint is not submission. It is control. When you choose to speak less, you conserve your energy. You keep your cards close. You don't reveal your thoughts, your emotions, or your strategies to anyone who doesn't deserve them. And in that silence, you gain power, because while others are busy exposing themselves through their words, you are learning. You are studying their tone, their body language, their fears, their intentions. Every detail becomes data. Every word they speak gives you information, and information is leverage. People reveal themselves when they talk. They reveal their insecurities, their weaknesses, their ambitions. The one who listens gains the upper hand. That's why those who speak less and observe more are dangerous. They walk away with knowledge while leaving nothing behind. They don't need to broadcast their thoughts because they already know that strength is not proven through noise, but through presence. Speaking less also forces you to value your words. When you don't waste them, when you use them sparingly, people pay attention. When you finally do speak, your words become rare, and rarity creates value. If you are always talking, your voice fades into the background. But if you are measured, if you are intentional, when you finally open your mouth, people stop and listen. Because they know you don't waste breath. They know your words are chosen carefully. Observation also teaches you patience. Most people rush to respond, rush to react, rush to prove themselves. But when you slow down, when you take time to truly see what is happening around you, you begin to notice things others miss. You see patterns. You see opportunities. You see dangers before they strike. Observation makes you sharper, wiser, more prepared. It gives you a 360-degree view of the world while others are blind in their own noise. To speak less and observe more is to master self-control. It's easy to react, to blurt out your emotions, to argue, to defend yourself in every situation. But self-control means holding back, analyzing, and responding only when it serves you. The unstoppable person does not react impulsively. They respond strategically. They know when to hold silence and when to release words like a blade, sharp and precise. Think of silence as a shield. It protects you from exposing too much. It gives you time to think. It forces others to reveal themselves first. And in that quiet space, you gain power. People often mistake your silence for weakness, but they are wrong. Silence is strength disguised. And when you finally decide to speak, you do so with clarity, authority, and impact. The truth is, those who never stop talking rarely listen. And because they don't listen, they don't learn. They repeat the same mistakes over and over because they are too busy projecting themselves instead of studying the world around them. But those who observe, who listen, who watch, who notice details, become masters of understanding. They learn faster, they adapt quicker, they see deeper truths hidden in plain sight. In life, in business, in relationships, in every battlefield you face, observation is a weapon. When you know more than the people around you, you move with advantage. You don't need to force outcomes, you influence them subtly because you see what others don't. The person who speaks less and observes more is never blindsided. They anticipate, they prepare, they stay 2 steps ahead. But this habit requires discipline. It requires the strength to stay silent when your ego wants to speak. It requires the courage to listen even when you feel like proving yourself. It requires the humility to understand that you don't learn by talking, you learn by listening. And once you adopt this, you will notice how much more powerful you feel, not because you are dominating conversations, but because you are controlling yourself. The unstoppable person knows this. Silence cannot be misquoted, but careless words can be used against you forever. The more you speak, the more you give others ammunition. The less you speak, the less vulnerable you become. Observation shields you from foolish mistakes and sharpens you for decisive action. It is not about being mute, it is about being intentional. Speak less, but when you do, let your words cut through the noise with undeniable weight. So learn to embrace silence. Learn to watch, to listen, to read between the lines. Learn to observe the world with a sharp eye and a disciplined mind, because when you master the art of speaking less and observing more, you carry a strength that few can understand. You no longer waste your energy proving yourself. You already know your worth. And that quiet confidence, that strategic restraint makes you unstoppable. Life will test you. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. It will knock you down, challenge your beliefs, break your heart, take things away from you, and see how badly you want to keep going. And in those moments, talent won't save you, luck won't save you, and comfort will certainly not save you. The only thing that will keep you standing is mental toughness. That's why you cannot wait for life to test you before you build it. You must practice it daily, deliberately, like a muscle. Because when the storm hits, and it will hit, you need to already be prepared. Mental toughness is not about being fearless. It's not about pretending you don't feel pain, doubt, or fear. It's about standing tall despite those feelings. It's about saying, yes, I'm scared. Yes, I'm tired. Yes, this hurts. But I'm still here. I'm still moving. Mental toughness is the ability to keep going when everything inside of you screams to quit. It's the refusal to surrender. And the only way you build it is by practicing it every single day in small ways before life demands it from you in big ways. People often make the mistake of thinking toughness is something you're born with. It isn't. It's built in the trenches of discomfort. It's built every time you choose the hard thing over the easy one. Every time you wake up when you don't want to. Every time you finish the workout even though your body aches. Every time you face rejection and keep trying anyway. Those are the moments that carve toughness into you. Those are the daily drills that prepare you for war. If you avoid discomfort, if you run from challenges, if you always look for the easy way out, you are robbing yourself of toughness. Because comfort breeds fragility. The more you shield yourself from pain, the more it owns you when it arrives. But when you lean into discomfort, when you intentionally expose yourself to struggle, you become unshackable. You learn to see pain not as punishment, but as practice. Not as an enemy, but as a teacher. Every challenge becomes a training ground. Every setback becomes a workout for your mind. One of the most powerful ways to build mental toughness is to do something every day that makes you uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be extreme. It could be taking a cold shower, having a difficult conversation, tackling the hardest task on your list first, or stepping into a situation that scares you. What matters is that you push your threshold daily, that you remind yourself, I don't avoid discomfort. I face it. Over time, that practice rewires your brain. What once felt impossible becomes normal. What once broke you no longer even shakes you. Mental toughness also means embracing failure. Most people crumble when they fail. They take it personally, they let it define them, and they never try again. But the unstoppable understand that failure is part of the process. Every failure is data. Every rejection is redirection. Every mistake is a lesson disguised as pain. If you practice reframing failure daily, not as the end, but as fuel, you strip it of its power to break you. You become someone who bounces back faster than anyone else. And that resilience is unstoppable. Another part of practicing toughness is controlling your inner dialogue. Because the harsh truth is this: the biggest enemy you will ever face lives in your own head. That voice that tells you you're not good enough, that you can't do it, that you should give up, that voice never goes away. But mental toughness means you don't give it authority. You hear it, but you don't obey it. You replace it with action. You prove it wrong by moving anyway. And every time you override that voice, you weaken it until one day it no longer controls you. But don't confuse mental toughness with arrogance. Toughness isn't about pretending you don't feel. It isn't about bottling everything inside. It's about enduring while staying calm, about holding steady in chaos, about refusing to lose yourself when the world tries to strip you down. It's about grit, not ego, and grit is something you must cultivate like a daily ritual. This is why the small habits matter. Waking up early when you want to stay in bed, finishing your commitments when you feel like quitting, staying disciplined with your goals even when motivation disappears. These little daily battles are where toughness is built. If you wait for the big battles to start practicing, it's already too late. And here's the truth: toughness is freedom. When you are mentally tough, you are not controlled by circumstances. You are not broken by rejection. You are not crushed by failure. You are not weakened by pain. You become the kind of person who can walk through fire and keep moving. And that kind of person is unstoppable. So make it a practice. Every day, do something that stretches you. Every day, push against your limits. Every day, remind yourself that quitting is not an option. The goal is not to avoid the struggle. The goal is to outlast it. Because life will not get easier. The world will not get softer. You must get stronger. You must get tougher. And you must do it daily, deliberately, relentlessly. That is how you build the kind of mind that nothing can break. Your mind is your greatest weapon, and like any weapon, it must be sharpened daily. If you feed it garbage, it will perform like garbage. If you neglect it, it will weaken. But if you feed it power, knowledge, wisdom, discipline, perspective, it becomes unstoppable. Most people take care of their appearance, their clothes, their social image, but they neglect the very engine that drives everything in their life, their mind. And that's why they remain stuck, average, and powerless. Understand this: the thoughts you allow into your head shape your actions shape your habits, and your habits shape your destiny. What you consume mentally will either build you or break you. If you spend your days scrolling through negativity, gossip, pointless arguments, and shallow entertainment, don't be surprised when you feel drained, unmotivated, and confused about your purpose. But if you spend your days feeding your mind with strength, books that challenge you, conversations that elevate you, information that sharpens you, you begin to transform. Your thinking becomes sharper, your vision clearer, your decisions stronger. Feeding your mind with power means being intentional about what you allow inside. Every piece of content you consume is either fuel or poison. Every person you listen to is either building you or breaking you down. You have to guard your mind like you would guard a fortress. Weak input leads to weak output. Powerful input leads to powerful results. You cannot expect greatness if all you feed yourself is noise. Think of the strongest people in history, the leaders, the innovators, the warriors. They didn't fill their minds with distraction. They trained them, stretched them, expanded them. They knew that the quality of their mind determined the quality of their life. And you have the same choice. You can waste your mental energy on meaningless chatter, or you can train your mind daily to become a weapon of focus and resilience. One of the simplest ways to feed your mind with power is to read every day. Read books that challenge you to think differently, that expand your perspective, that introduce you to ideas bigger than your current world. Reading is not entertainment, it is training. Each page is a rep for your brain, each idea is fuel for your growth. When you read, you are borrowing decades of experience from someone who has already walked the path. That's leverage. That's power. But it's not just about books. It's about the conversations you engage in. Surround yourself with people who elevate you, who challenge you to grow, who don't let you settle for less. If your circle is small-minded, negative, and constantly stuck in gossip, then you are feeding your mind poison. Protect yourself from that energy. Spend time with people who sharpen you, who push you, who make you see possibilities you didn't see before. That is feeding your mind with power. Another way to do this daily is through reflection and learning from experience. Too many people go through life repeating the same mistakes because they never stop to reflect. Every challenge, every failure, every success carries a lesson. But if you don't take time to extract it, the lesson is wasted. Feeding your mind isn't just about external knowledge. It's about turning your own life into a classroom. When you ask yourself daily, what did I learn today? How can I grow from this? You turn every experience into power. And do not underestimate the importance of what you listen to and watch. Music, shows, podcasts, videos, they are all programming your subconscious, whether you realize it or not. If you consume negativity, anger, fear, and drama, you will eventually think, act, and feel the same way. But if you consume content that inspires you, teaches you, and lifts you up, you will think differently and therefore act differently. You are the sum of what you repeatedly feed your mind. Feeding your mind with power also means challenging yourself to step into the unknown. Growth doesn't come from repeating what you already know. It comes from confronting what you don't. Learn new skills, study new subjects. Expose yourself to ideas that stretch your comfort zone. When you push your mind beyond its limits, you expand your capacity to handle life. And the bigger your capacity, the less anything can break you. But let me be clear, this habit requires discipline. Because feeding your mind with power is not always easy. Reading a book takes effort. Learning something new requires patience. Listening to wisdom may challenge your ego. It's much easier to numb yourself with endless entertainment and meaningless chatter. But easy choices create a weak mind. Hard choices create a strong one. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you are building a sharper, stronger, unstoppable mind. When you feed your body with junk food, it gets weak, bloated, and unhealthy. The same happens with your mind. Junk information makes you slow, insecure, and unfocused. But when you feed your mind with strength, you walk through life differently. Your decisions improve, your confidence grows, your resilience hardens. You no longer get tossed around by fear, gossip, or failure. You stand anchored in clarity and wisdom. Imagine two people facing the same challenge. One has spent years feeding their mind with negativity, shallow content, and weak influences. The other has spent years feeding their mind with discipline, learning, and strength. Who survives? Who adapts? Who wins? The answer is obvious. Your preparation determines your outcome, and that preparation begins in your mind. So every day, ask yourself, what am I feeding my mind? Is this information making me stronger or weaker? Is this conversation lifting me or draining me? Is this habit sharpening me or dulling me? Because your future depends on the answer. If you want to be unstoppable, you cannot afford to neglect your mind. You must fuel it with power daily. The body can be broken, but a strong mind cannot. And the only way to build that strength is by feeding it what it needs: knowledge, wisdom, growth, and truth. Do this every day, relentlessly, and you will become someone who cannot be shaken, someone who cannot be broken, someone who is truly unstoppable. The way you end your day is just as important as the way you start it. Most people go to bed distracted, drained, and unaware of how they spent their hours. They fall asleep with the television on, scrolling endlessly, numbing themselves until their eyes shut. And then they wonder why they wake up feeling stuck, why their progress feels slow, why every day feels like a repeat of the last. If you want to become unstoppable, you must learn to end your day with reflection, because reflection is not about the past. It is about power. It transforms your mistakes into lessons, your lessons into growth, and your growth into momentum. Every day, you are writing a page in the story of your life. But if you never pause to read what you've written, you will keep repeating the same chapters. Reflection is the act of slowing down just enough to ask yourself the hard questions. What did I do well today? Where did I fail? What did I learn? Where can I improve? These questions sharpen you. They prevent you from sleepwalking through your life. They force you to live with intention instead of drifting blindly. When you reflect daily, you turn time into a teacher. You stop wasting experiences, even the painful ones, because you extract wisdom from them. That argument you had, it's not just conflict, it's a lesson in communication. That goal you didn't reach, it's not just failure, it's feedback on your approach. That success you achieved, it's not just a win, it's proof of what works and should be repeated. Reflection turns life into a constant classroom where every moment has value. Without it, you throw away opportunities to grow. Ending your day with reflection also builds accountability, because reflection forces you to face yourself. There's no hiding. There's no pretending. The mirror does not lie. If you wasted the day, you must admit it. If you avoided the hard task, you must acknowledge it. If you gave in to distraction, you must own it. And though it may sting, that honesty is exactly what sharpens you. Growth doesn't come from avoiding the truth. It comes from confronting it. And reflection is the tool that brings truth into the light. But reflection isn't just about what went wrong, it's also about gratitude. When you end your day by acknowledging what you are thankful for, you shift your focus from what you lack to what you already have. Gratitude grounds you. It builds resilience by reminding you that even on hard days, there are still blessings, lessons, and victories to recognize. Gratitude is power because it prevents bitterness, jealousy, and negativity from taking root. And when you pair gratitude with accountability, you create balance. You honor your progress while still demanding more from yourself. Most people think growth only happens in action, but the truth is growth happens in reflection. Action is movement, reflection is direction. Without reflection, you may work hard, but in the wrong way. You may keep moving, but never truly advancing. But when you reflect, you refine. You cut away wasted effort. You target what matters most. You build not just speed, but accuracy. That's why unstoppable people end their days with reflection. They don't just want to work hard, they want to work right. And here's something powerful. Reflection builds momentum across time. One day of reflection teaches you a lesson. A week of reflection shows you patterns. A month of reflection reveals your habits. A year of reflection gives you wisdom that most people never gain in a lifetime. When you look back and see how far you've come, when you recognize the small improvements that stacked on each other, you gain confidence. You realize that even your failures served you. That every day, whether good or bad, has been shaping you into something stronger. Reflection also prepares you for tomorrow. Instead of dragging your mistakes and distractions into the next day, you clear them before you sleep. You reset. You release what doesn't serve you and set intentions for what will. You wake up lighter, sharper, more focused. This is why people who reflect daily grow faster than those who don't. They don't carry yesterday's baggage into today's opportunities. But reflection requires courage. It's easy to distract yourself until you fall asleep. It's easy to avoid the discomfort of facing your flaws. It's easy to numb your mind instead of sharpening it. But easy choices create weak lives. Strong choices create strong lives. And the strong choice is to end each day with honesty, gratitude, and intention. It takes only minutes, but those minutes change everything. This habit is not glamorous. No one will applaud you for sitting alone with your thoughts. No one will see you writing in your journal, reviewing your day, holding yourself accountable. But this is what separates the unstoppable from the average. The average live blindly, repeating the same mistakes. The unstoppable reflect, refine, and rise higher each day. Reflection is the quiet work that builds loud results. So tonight, when the day is done, don't just collapse into bed. Don't just drown in distraction. Take a moment. Ask yourself the questions that matter. Be honest about your failures, grateful for your blessings, and clear about your next steps. Because if you can master the discipline of reflection, you will not only end each day stronger, you will end your life with no regrets. You've now seen what it takes to become unstoppable. Not through luck, not through talent, but through discipline. Through the habits you choose every single day. Because life doesn't reward what you want, it rewards what you do. And if you want to step into a version of yourself that cannot be broken, you must live with intention. These 7 habits are not random. They are the blueprint. They cover every layer of your being, your mind, your body, your focus, your communication, your resilience, your growth, and your reflection. Together, they form a shield that protects you from mediocrity and a sword that cuts through every obstacle. Mastering your morning is about ownership. If you can't command the first hour of your day, you'll never command the rest of your life. Training your body and mind is about discipline, proving to yourself daily that pain won't defeat you. Protecting your focus ensures that your time, the most precious resource you own, is spent building, not wasting. Speaking less and observing more keeps you sharp, strategic, and respected. Practicing mental toughness daily makes you dangerous to anything that tries to break you. Feeding your mind with power ensures you grow sharper and stronger, never stagnant. And ending your day with reflection ties it all together, making sure nothing is wasted. Not your time, not your failures, not your victories. But here's the truth. Knowing these habits means nothing unless you practice them. You can't just listen and nod your head. You must take action. Consistency is what transforms habits into identity. Do these habits once and nothing changes. Do them daily and everything changes. Because repetition builds mastery. Mastery builds confidence, and confidence builds the kind of person who cannot be stopped. Understand this: being unstoppable is not about being fearless. It's not about being perfect. It's about being relentless. It's about showing up, even when you're tired, even when it's uncomfortable, even when no one is cheering you on. It's about being so committed to your growth that nothing, no failure, no rejection, no setback can make you quit. Every day, you are building or destroying the future version of yourself. The question is, which one are you building? Are you strengthening the unstoppable version of you, or are you feeding the weak one? The choice is yours. And it begins not tomorrow, not next week, but today. Because one day you will look back at your life and you'll either say, I lived with discipline, with courage, with strength. Or you'll say, I let distraction and weakness rob me of what I could have been. That decision is made in the habits you choose daily. So choose power, choose discipline, choose growth. Build these 7 habits into the foundation of your life. Because once you do, you won't just survive this world, you'll dominate it. You won't just move through life, you'll own it. You won't just exist, you'll be unstoppable.